Hello everyone, I'm Alan Melanson and
I'm Tammy Andrews-Tupper.
And we're with the Historical Association of Annapolis Royal.
An Explorer Guide.
Of course, and we're here to cover behind the scenes of the encampment of the 84th Regiment, 2nd Battalion, Royal Highland Immigrants. They've been coming here to Fort Anne this is the 27th summer, so we're inviting you all to come here. 1992, I was working here, just a young lad, and we started this. We invited them for the first time, and they've been coming here every year since. So it's really an important part of Natal Days.
I'm so excited to go around because Alan's going to talk to a lot of the encampment reenactments and ask them lots of questions. We're going to get a lot of behind the scenes. They're still setting up right now, so some of them are still in the process of getting their tents up. Some of them are already up and ready to go, but we're going to get a lot of behind the scenes, and we're really hoping that people will come out tomorrow, swing by tonight, all weekend. They're here until Saturday.
Well, they're here tonight, and then they'll be all day tomorrow. And they're going to tear down Sunday afternoon because we have to clear this all for the cadets.
Closing ceremony.
Yeah, the cadets are having a Freedom of the Town and Sunset ceremony over here. But they'll be doing a reenactment tomorrow for battle, a tactical battle. They'll be doing drill and firing off muskets and cannons on the ground. So it'll be the smell and sound of gunpowder will bring this site to life. Because Fort Anne hasn't seen a battle since 1781. But we hope to have something going on tomorrow, so be sure to come and see us over here.
Yeah, we'll be videotaping tonight, and then we'll videotape the battle tomorrow. And then we're also going to videotape the parade on Monday as well.
Very good. So the Historical Association of Annapolis Royal and Explorer Guides are your key to knowing what's going on in Annapolis Royal for Natal Days this year. The 72nd Natal Days of Annapolis Royal.
So, Alan, you mentioned it a little bit ago, but you started this 27 years ago.
Yes.
How did you come about doing that?
Well, I heard of this encampment group in Windsor, having a little encampment at Windsor. So I went there and contacted Rob Redden, who was the camp commander at the time, and he was a friend of my sister. They went to teachers' calls together.
Okay.
Yeah, in Truro in the late, it was in the 70s, 70s, and so we invited them. It went very well, and they've been coming every year since, and it's an integral part of our Natal Day festivities. So I think Annapolis Royal was a military town. Today you don't see too much military here, but so this brings in tomorrow. They're actually going to do a parade down the street to the tavern. Even the soldiers were known to have a drink or two once in a while, but they'll do it after the battle. They won't misfire and injure any folks. It's all safety zone. When you come here tomorrow, whenever they're firing, there'll be a safety zone. You have to stay out of the zone so they can fire off properly. So no accidents have ever happened here in 27 years, and don't want them to start tomorrow. You see.
And they also. Oftentimes you'll see them, the reenactments, they will go down to the farmer's market and walk around in their costumes.
Exactly.
And I think that's pretty neat.
Oh no, seeing some people eating some nice squares and foods and breads, it brings the life of what it would have been like when this was a military town.
Yeah.
Because Annapolis Royal, it was the capital of Nova Scotia before Halifax, and more battles took place here than anywhere else in Canada. So this is a very interesting and important place in our Canadian history. But I think we want to go down and see.
Okay.
I think there's something might be happening here with the.
I'm gonna flip the camera around if I can figure out. Excuse me if I mess this up.
No problem. The encampment, there wasn't too much technology back then. They would kind of go more in smoke signals or flag signals or a letter that maybe took 6 weeks to get to Europe. Somebody might read it and send something back, but it was not as fast-paced society, and probably a better society than we have today. We're too stuck on the clock today. People are going to learn to relax and go back in the old days, and they'll live longer. You don't feel any stress when you're standing around here in the breeze, do you, Tammy?
No, I love it. It's nice. It's nice. Nice in the shade here in this beautiful tent.
You were mentioning you met this young lady here a couple of years ago. So maybe you could find out from her what she's doing on. I'll let you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Would you like to explain who you are and where you come from?
Yeah. My name is Siobhan O'Toole. I'm actually from Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia. My role here is actually to take care of my father. He is part of the 84th Regiment. He's in the artillery. He's becoming a bit elderly. We had to leave Boston, and we're down here as a refugee. I also, in my tent area, at times, we buy and sell product here as a settler tent, selling anything from quills and paper to things that the soldiers are making just to have that little bit of extra cash for their tobacco. As I said, my father is currently probably getting the cannon ready for the sunset ceremony.
Nice.
So when he is done from that, I'll have dinner. Today is going to be sausages and some green beans.
Your fire
Yes.
little setup. Can you explain this a little bit to us?
These are braziers. So these are pretty much contained. I have a bit of lump charcoal and a little bit of kindling to get them started, and a bit of wax inside, a wax candle. Then what we will have is our cast iron. Now, as a camp refugee, a lot of times they had to leave very quickly. So, you know, that frying pan and pot may be only things that they would have to cook with. I'm very lucky I have the big Dutch oven.
Oh, yes.
The hardest thing
I'm in
at
the shower.
camp is that we are always boiling water. You know, those modern times I hear that they have plumbing inside their houses and you can turn on a tap and have hot water, but not here at camp. We have to always have water boiling for our tea, for our dishes, for washing, for cleaning.
You'd be in a lot of trouble if you didn't have a pot or a kettle
Or anything, yes.
Yeah.
This tent is actually a representation of the 1780s refugee loyalist tent. It was something that would have been given to civilians to stay while they have place finding homes with the loyal, where we were being granted land. So a lot of times we would stay in these encampments, take care of our families. Once the land was granted, my father and I would move into a house together, and I would continue to take care of it.
Okay.
This is for your coal.
I put my
charcoal in there.
my charcoal in there. Barrels are great. We also use them for garbage.
And it's all wood also. No
Yeah.
sparks or anything will fly off to set off any gunpowder or anything like that. So
No. It
pretty
takes
safe.
a lot to get coal. It takes a lot to get lump charcoal going.
Okay.
If you dropped tobacco or something in it, you might get it to go. But otherwise, no. And at night, we kind of tuck it under to keep it dry. So in the morning we can have our breakfast.
And this is where you would eat right here.
Yeah, this is it. One thing about camp is that most of the time benches were common. This is a sawbuck table.
Right.
This actually comes apart, folds, and can go on the back of the wagon. These actually will also collapse, be thrown on the back of the wagon. But benches were very, very common for encampments around for soldiers and stuff to sit on. The fly, well, that keeps the weather off of you. I have cooked meals in the rain, in the heat, never in the snow, but you just never ever know what you're going to have with the elements.
We've got a cold spell coming in. We could use a bit of a little less humidity there, but this nice breeze tonight. Now, what about this? Is this wares that you sell? Is this for your...
No, this is for what's so funny is because it's such a hot and humid day, all the soldiers know that I happen to have a big jug of fresh water, and they've been coming to refill for cups of water all afternoon. I take not only roles of women in camps, a lot of it was sort of doing the motherly things for the soldiers. We did laundry.
Okay.
They often did their own cooking.
Would they pay you for the laundry?
It was actually a barter system, because that's why I would be allowed to stay in camp. I have to provide a service.
Okay.
Sewing, I always have my sewing kit. If someone needs buttons sewn on, hooks sewn on, anything like that, I repair jackets and stuff while I'm here.
Oh, nice.
So, like I said, we often do those womanly chores too. For a lot of women, the reason they end up in camps is because they have nowhere else to go. All of a sudden, their fathers, their husbands, their brothers, all of a sudden they went to war, and they have no income, and they have nowhere else to go. So that's the other reason why we became camp followers, is we followed our loved ones, our men, because that was our survival. We couldn't own land.
Yeah.
So, you had to live with a male heir if you wanted a home.
And what about the lanterns? This is what you have for light at night?
Light at night, yeah. We fill them up full of candles. Actually, my favorite part of camp is late in the evening when it gets quiet and everybody's lanterns are lit.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, my favorite part, I go up to the privy.
Yes.
And I look at all the lanterns lit, and it's just so beautiful.
That makes me think of the candlelight graveyard tour.
Totally. Yeah, that goes on every night. For Natal Day, I'll be doing one tonight.
Yeah,
tomorrow night, Sunday night, and Monday night. So you're all welcome to come out here and partake. We start right in the parking lot right here at Fort Anne.
What time?
At 9:30. We've been doing it for 27 years as well. and it's always the same time, 9:30. We've only canceled twice in 27 years.
That must have been some bad weather.
All
'cause you're
5
here.
factors came into play. Hurricane winds, torrential downpour, lightning storm, thunderstorm, and power outage. So you couldn't see a thing. It wasn't safe to be outside.
Perfect
But other than that,
storm.
we go. I don't know even you could have cooked in that weather. I don't know.
No, I think I'd probably bunker down and have like a piece of bread and some cheese.
Come over here for a minute. What's your name?
This
Don't
is
be shy.
Janet.
Yeah, come over here.
He's
What's your
on
One
the
name?
of our,
Stand over.
he is the Brewster's son. She
Okay.
runs the
The
tavern.
You're too young to drink, aren't you? Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but-
then one of these days you'll grow up and you can know how to serve the liquor.
Well, that's funny because beer at that time actually was only about 1% alcohol.
so it was like
and it was actually safer to drink beer
Than
than it
water.
was to drink the water.
Very good.
Yeah, I
Especially in
heard
encampment.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
because encampment areas, it wasn't Henry VIII when
Okay.
he went to take over Calais in
Okay.
France. Dysentery actually took out the soldiers.
Oh, yeah. That's from the
And they
water.
had to go back because it was actually bad water and stuff that actually took down the whole
Rather
regiment.
than the French themselves.
Yeah. So, it's interesting that, even somebody that age may have had a little bit of,
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
it was a liquid, you need to have some liquid content.
Yeah.
Now, he's tying up your tent. What have you got? You have some supplies in that in there, don't you?
yes, this, like I said, this is a 1780s tent. This would have been something that was given to refugees, like I said, while we were waiting for land. I'm very lucky. I have a cot.
Oh, nice.
I do have a cot. These old bones don't like to sleep on the ground much anymore, unfortunately.
Nice.
My box. This is a reproduction of something that I would have put all my goods in and thrown on the back of the wagon and followed the camp up.
Okay. Did you make it yourself?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
I know. I was very,
Very
very
good.
proud of this project. I had seen it. There's a wonderful television program called Turn Washington Whispers. If you
Okay.
really want to get the effect of camp life, women in camps and stuff, it's an amazing program, and it's a reproduction
I
of
saw
some of
that.
those. Yeah, it's
Very good.
very simple. Like I said, I made it in a day. So
I think, Tammy, you were wondering maybe why a young lady like Siobhan would join a regiment like this and become a reenactor.
Yeah,
So
I mean, there's
makes
so
you-
many
what
other
made- yeah.
things
I-
a person your age could be
I was
doing.
going to say, I am a history geek.
Yeah.
My father has been taking me to museums since I was a very, very young child. And friends of ours were talking about this reenacting and clothes and these tents and cooking. And I was like, well, you have to tell me more about this. And I joined the 84th and another group. I've remained with the 84th. And I just have fallen completely in love with it. I love technology. I live in the moment. I see my friends. I've been watching these children grow up since he was an infant. And it's a family for us.
Yeah.
And we, like I said, 5-6 times a year, this giant family gets together and we have an amazing time.
Yeah. It's amazing just to walk through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love coming every year just to walk through and to see what you guys do. It's amazing. It's a big undertaking though.
It is. It's not a cheap hobby by
I wouldn't
any
think.
means.
Yeah, if you want to get
Yeah.
real and authentic.
A tent like this without the poles and anything was over 600 Canadian.
Don't get the $39.99 special
No,
Canadian
no.
Tire.
No.
But-
This is the real thing.
But these will last
Yes.
25, 30 years.
yeah.
I'll be able to hand these down to my grandchildren.
Oh, good. So amortized over time, they're a bargain.
Yes,
you're telling me.
exactly. And as people come and go out of it, they buy and sell their tents and stuff. So like I said, these tents never ever, they've got to be pretty poor shape to be retired. And so families over the next 25 years will share these tents. My other tent's about 30 years old.
Now, tomorrow, do you have products yourself that you'll be selling here? Or do you have
I will be setting up my settlers area tomorrow. I will have one of our soldiers. He makes beautiful leather work. He makes beautiful hand-bound journals. I will have quills to go with the journals. I have some scented paper. I also have some beautiful silk ribbon to wrap your letters. I can even show you how to fold and send a letter as though it was for that time
Oh,
period.
very nice. Very nice.
Like I said, I usually also have hand balms and salves and stuff, but unfortunately the high humidity does not lend itself to wax works.
Yeah. Now you said you bought some last year.
I bought some 2 years ago, 2016.
Yes,
I bought a
the
little
18th century solid perfumes.
Yeah, Tudor
Rose.
Yes,
that's frankincense and rose. That's
Yes.
what Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn wore.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I had to get it because it was related to Anne Boleyn. You know,
Yes,
somehow.
yes. The amazing Protestant. She was so ahead of her time. She was an
And
amazing
the
lady.
feathers that you have, you showed us you'll be making those into quills tomorrow?
I probably will not be able to make those into quills
Okay.
tomorrow, unfortunately, because I don't have all my stuff to do that.
Okay.
But at least I will be able to show what we're looking for
Okay.
a quill,
Yeah.
and how to clean them and stuff like that.
And people can just stop by and
People can
say
stop
hi
by,
and
yes,
ask
and like I
questions.
said, and we'll have the cutest little 10 styles of Revolutionary soldiers and cannons
Okay.
and stuff for sale, all
Very good.
hand-casted.
Now, who's this fine looking
This is
gentleman?
a sailor who just keeps hanging around.
Yeah, he might be looking for a camp follower. I don't know.
Sailors smell so bad that I could use the services of someone
Oh,
supplying
she was saying she had some balm, some soap and everything from the dimes of Van Boleyn and everything she's making, but
Yes,
you're out of luck.
Yes,
I have offered him soap, and he has told me no.
Well, he only takes once a year or something, or what? You
I
know?
was once told by the ship's surgeon
Yeah.
that soap is not a good thing.
No, that's true. I know. You keep
Okay,
telling me that.
Bathing in general is not a good thing.
It's not.
Now, why is that not very good? Now, can you gentlemen tell us
No, Marie Antoinette used to bathe twice a day. So it's one extreme.
She was royalty though, and look what happened to Marie Antoinette.
Unfortunately, it was her own decadence that was her own ending. That is very
It
true.
clogs your pores.
Yes.
It stops the natural body humors from what I'm trying to say. I just know that I do not like to wash.
Yeah.
Your outfit you're wearing today, now,
Yes.
who would have made that for you in the old days? Now, I'm sure you're a fine tell, you might maybe it
Well,
yourself
when
today,
you,
but
when you signed on the Navy,
yes.
There was something called slops chests,
Okay.
which were basically
I gotta check my pictures.
contract clothing
Yes.
that was issued to the sailors, and you would go to the slops chest and you would grab yourself some. These are petticoat breeches.
Okay.
So they're so big in the leg because when you're climbing up the rigging,
Right.
you're running around the deck, swabbing
Yeah.
the deck. It gives you freedom of movement.
Okay.
And this waistcoat is actually, I've done a lot of research on this waistcoat. It's from a wreck that was a British wreck that was wrecked off Poland in 1785 called
wow.
the Admiral Carleton of Whitby. Interesting thing, they had a number of sailors. Some of them died, some of them were saved. And one of the sailors' chests, because it was carrying a cargo of tar and pig iron,
Right.
when the ship listed, some of the tar encased one of the slops chests.
Yeah.
So in 1990 something, when they dug up the ship, they found this time capsule basically of all of exactly what a sailor would have been wearing in the year 1785.
That's wonderful.
And they've reconstructed all of the bits and pieces, and down to the stitch count and the type of fabric that it was made from. They had hats and stockings, petticoat breeches, waistcoats, shirts, mittens, everything.
Right, the stick, walking stick.
1990, are you saying you're from the future?
Sorry.
Well, he looks like
1990. 17, yeah, in
85,
1990.
but you're saying in the future,
In the
people
future,
will find
when
that.
they will
When they will find out, just certainty. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
True. How do
Peter
I-
Ashley, he's the captain of the chief of the president of the organization. Now, what's your rank in the unit, Peter?
Private.
Private. So he's got presidential duty, but they put him under private here, buck private, I guess.
29 years, he's still a private.
Yeah.
I don't know if that tells you much about him, but
Well, you put him to the head of the regiment, so he must be doing something well. And Peter, you're a school teacher. Are you still teaching or
No,
retired?
I'm retired.
Yeah. Now, you gentlemen, Kerry and Peter, what makes you kind of want to be part of something like this? Because you've been with this, I know, for every year I've been around. So
Yeah. Well, my ancestor was in the 2nd Battalion, 84th Regiment, so that's what initially got me involved.
And where did he serve? What's the 84th? When was the 84th here already?
They were here through much of the war, but my ancestor was here in 1783 because 4 companies of the battalion were called here because they thought they were going to have to go across the Bay of Fundy and deal with some New Englanders that were encroaching on New Brunswick.
New Brunswick.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Those nasty New Englanders, eh?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
were then.
Yeah. Now, Kerry, yourself, I know you've done some photography in your time, but as a sailor, you probably just have memories of photography. But what made you join the 84th?
You know, I was a competitive black powder shooter back in the 1980s.
Sharp eye.
And I knew there was, well, I didn't have that sharp an eye. Couldn't hit much, but I knew there was something more to it.
Yeah.
And we used to portray mountain men.
Okay.
And of course, mountain men aren't any part of Nova Scotia history whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's Western United States. And when Bill and Robert Redden thought they'd start up the 84th Regiment, it had some big significance to Nova Scotia, huge significance, and a huge population of Nova Scotia, especially Hants County,
Yes.
is related to the disbanded soldiers of the 84th.
Well, did you spend it from the Fort Edward, or when was it? Yeah, from the Fort Edward.
From
rest
Fort
area.
Edward.
Yeah. Because was it at the Mac property you used to go do some mountain men shooting or something like that?
We used to do that at
The
Mac-
Bridgetown,
yeah,
yeah.
in Bridgetown.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, no, yeah, but
And
this...
we'd have, first time I ever tasted roasted bear meat.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to taste that again.
He should have come to Newman's here. He could have had some back then at Newman's restaurant. You had julienne of beef tongue salad with pimento and palm hearts and an olive oil and balsamic vinegar dressing there. And you could have bear stew as well. But
on,
there was...
on a bed of radicchio.
Yeah, you could have that was it. I missed that. He closed up about 20 years ago, and they can't find that. So maybe I was hoping maybe some of the finer cooks here might be able to prepare something like that tomorrow.
Perhaps.
Actually, I had bear meat.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So you do all your own cooking here?
Well, in the 18th century, there would have been a squad. Every one of these little tents,
Yes.
you see, would have been occupied by about 6 men.
6 men per tent.
6 men per tent.
Ooh,
That's
crowded
so
quarter.
5 men at a time, one on duty.
Oh, okay, so one would be
So
guarding.
your entire camp equipage for your squad of 6 men would have been a pot, an axe, the tent, and the tent poles.
Okay.
That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the pot was used for more than just
What? Just for cooking. Well, uric acid can clean things once in a while.
They stay at camp.
Yeah. No, you get put a bit of hot water afterward, but they say that the bit of uric acid is a good cleanser.
So you'd have gone to the quartermaster once a day,
Yeah.
and you'd have received your provisions. Usually salted meat,
Yeah.
dried legumes of some sort, perhaps peas, corn,
peas.
wheat,
Yeah.
anything. They'd have made bread, they'd have had a porridge, a hodgepodge. But if you were lucky enough to be in a garrison for an extended period of time,
a little piece of cheese once.
Oh, a bit of dairy
you'd
cheese.
you'd have done some work. They all had trades, or most of them had trades. So they'd have done a little bit of perhaps cobbling, shoemaking, a bit of carpentry, whatever, to earn a bit of extra money. They'd have also had garrison gardens.
Okay.
And the garden would have been, they knew that cabbages and carrots and turnips were good for you. They didn't know why they were good for you.
If you ate them, you felt better.
They know that you didn't lose your teeth,
Yeah.
and they knew that you felt better.
And cabbage was a big thing.
Cabbage
Okay.
was huge. We have records of the 84th being issued sauerkraut.
Okay.
Very, very popular. And vinegar.
Vinegar. Yeah.
So the vinegar, if you'd have grown cabbage, then you'd have made your own sauerkraut.
Yeah, nice.
And a very, very welcome addition to a horrible diet of
Now, I
Dried
see
food.
one gentleman here walking with a musket here. This looks like a pretty official gentleman. Could you maybe introduce yourself and what you're doing here?
Well, my name's Alistair Hamilton. I've been with this group for about 6 or 7 years now, and I was just cleaning my musket. This is a short gland powdered brown Bess.
Okay.
This would probably be about the mainstay of the British Armed Forces in our time period. So.
This weapon was used in one form or another from the early 1700s right through to the 1840s.
He was polishing this morning when I came. Some at 9 o'clock. He was already polishing.
And,
he's
and
a keen
I just
soldier.
stuck my finger down the barrel and it's clean.
It's clean. Although he even offered to polish the sergeant's
Yes, I did,
gun
yeah.
as well. So he said,
Eager,
"Well, you're
you know.
trying to get some brownie points," but he's doing pretty good.
When I morph from my comfortable sailor
Yeah.
persona tomorrow to my nasty, horrible sergeant's persona.
Oh, the working men of the army, the sergeant.
The
And,
sergeant,
and it's
exactly.
only then that we respect them.
Yeah, yes.
Then they respect me.
Yeah, no, but the sergeants, I've been told, they were the backbone of the armies.
Indeed.
Yeah,
The sergeants had a little bit of book learning.
yes.
They could read. They had to fill out innumerable forms because we know they did because they exist now in the public libraries and in the British Records Office. Thousands and hundreds of thousands of pages of British incredible record keepers.
You gentlemen wouldn't have frequented the tavern by any means, would you?
Never.
Never?
Never do that, sir.
Well,
Well-
Well, I'm a private.
Off the record.
Off the record, off the record.
Never
I'm a
seen-
private, and I could only afford it every once in a blue moon.
Like I said, off the record.
Pay-wise, did you get paid when you were here, or how did the pay happen? Like, if you had families back home, what happened to them?
4 shillings. After stoppages, I think it was boiled down to 2 shillings, and that was, or 2 pence, pardon me. Yeah, 2 shillings.
You've been a rich
we
man.
could only wish.
Yeah.
But 2 pence, and so yeah, it didn't take long to spend that.
You know, a lot of people say, well, why didn't they desert? Why didn't they just run through the woods and get out of the army? You couldn't.
Yeah.
You had a very rudimentary 2 or 3 pence. You might have saved 10 or 15 pence or a shilling in your entire
So, nobody
time
went
in the
anywhere.
army, so
Yeah,
you wouldn't
yeah.
have any way to look after yourself or to buy anything, so you had to stay in the army.
And it was a means of supporting your family too, because
Oh yes, many of the families, as you see,
Yeah.
The men, a certain percentage of the men were permitted to be married. It was about what, 8 to 10% were allowed
Yes.
to be married.
Yep.
and the clothes as the soldiers, you know, their clothes became or were replaced, then often the second-hand clothing would be sent to the family.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
that's
the wives and the
oh, that's
children.
nice.
If your husband died in battle,
Yeah.
you would receive his regimentals, providing that they were more than a year old.
Oh, okay. They were not
If they were newer than a year,
stayed in the regiment.
they stayed in the regiment and they had to be given to someone else.
Now, one last question. What made you join the 84th?
Well, I was at one point a 78th Highlander at the Halifax Citadel,
Mm-hmm.
and one summer that I was working there, I got interested because they were inviting me down to their encampment in the ditch.
Okay.
And so I went, and I found that I was hanging out more so with them
In the
than
70s.
with my original regiment. More so to the point that I actually started to enjoy it. And Mr. Delory said, well, Mr. Hamilton, why don't you come and join us one of these days? We'll get you kitted out. We'll see how you feel. Come out next summer. That next summer I went out to Kentville, and we did the Apple Blossom Festival Parade.
Oh, nice.
I got a kit from the unit, and I got a musket from Mr. Delory, and I had a blast, and I was hooked. That was about 7 years ago.
And as you can see, as the older people get older and
Yeah.
sort of think about retirement from the army, it's up to the younger people.
Well,
to
he's
be able to take up the
I've been
Yeah.
impressed with him. He's been working hard all day.
Oh, he's very enthusiastic. We
Now,
have two or
that being
three
said, are
fellows
we going
who
to,
are
Harry, are we
Yeah.
going to go and have a look at the tavern
Let's
here?
go have a look.
Now, I don't know if they'll serve any of you guys tonight, but
tavern. I don't know if they should.
this is look at that says how you sometimes looks like some, what's that, a moose hide over there or on the floor? Or is it cowhide? Cowhide, okay, cowhide. Yeah, now very good. Gonna have something to keep the ants and the mosquitoes from going and the bugs from coming in. Yeah, the earwigs over here.
Hi there.
Good day, how are you?
Good. We're here doing our little video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we want everybody to come and visit the encampment tomorrow around the Annapolis Royal area, because we're from the Historical Association of Annapolis Royal, an explorer guide, and we're trying to get a little bit of behind the scenes, because tomorrow people don't see everything that's going on in the setup and everything. They just arrive. But this way, look at this. Things are going on. You've got a fort built and little miniature soldiers and everything going on here. But what's the main function of this part of the camp?
This area is set up as a sort of a sutler or a tavern that would
Okay.
have followed along with the encampment. The liquor license would have actually been issued from the commanding officer to sell
Yeah.
alcohol or the necessities for the men and the officers.
Yeah, okay, very good. So this is you had your supply, and you've got some cherries and blueberries. I like the little games you got here. Now you've got these are just like blocks, I think, that they can
Yeah,
build with
it's
and
just wooden
create their
blocks.
own armies here.
Yeah.
And-
The soldiers are all made out of reclaimed pewter, as it were.
Oh, nice.
I did the casting for all those.
You've done all those?
Yeah, so I just got the cannons put together. I was missing the one tool I needed, and a friend of mine
How
brought
do
it
you
up.
put the cannons together? Because
It's actually a two-piece mold. So the first piece is the cannon with the carriage. Is one
okay, the
that
carriage
forms
and
out.
cannon is one thing.
Yeah, and then the other piece is the wheel itself.
Okay.
So the mold does one wheel and one cannon, so you have to make another wheel. And then when you put it on, I found the easiest way is actually to cut a little slit in the end and then spread the two pieces apart, and that will keep the wheel on.
So that's not where you're firing tomorrow. You're going to find one over there, are you?
Yeah, the bigger version.
Yeah. Okay. But
If we could fire that one, that would be impressive.
it'd be a lot easier to pull, you know, than that one. You know.
Just one guy instead of 5 or 6.
We could strap just Freya. Freya could pull that. You could pull that cannon, couldn't you?
So,
And you even got little bowling sets here and everything, so that.
and then it wouldn't have been uncommon for little boys to carry around little carved pistols or muskets with that their fathers would have done for them. Or,
So have you guys had to come very far to come today?
we came from the Kentville area,
Okay,
so a
yeah.
little over an hour drive, but it's worth it. We actually showed up a day early and set up
Did you?
because
Very
we
good.
really enjoy it down here.
Do you do many other encampments around the province?
We try to get to all the other ones, so the ones in Liverpool and Shelburne and the Citadel and the Colchester Highland Games. Those are the ones that we have lined up for this year. So
Very good. And how many people do you think you'll end up with when it's all said and done this year over here, roughly? Do you know
for reenactors in the
yeah,
encampment?
roughly. Because with all the kids, you get 50, 60 people or so?
I wouldn't be surprised if we had 50 or 60. I'd be surprised if it was anything less, to be honest.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
this encampment usually has a very good turnout for all
Very
of it.
good. And what, like yourself, how many years have you been involved?
This is our 7th year.
7th year. Yeah, very good.
So he was about 6 months old at his first encampment, and my littlest one, Freya, she was 2 weeks.
2 weeks old. Wow, so you got initiated early.
Yeah,
she was 2
Halifax was her first.
Oh, okay, the Citadel.
Yeah.
Very good. And who makes all the outfits? Is it, do you make the costumes here? or-
For the most part, we've had a lot of hand downs
Okay.
from the other children. Like, I think Gideon has some of Cutler's things
Okay.
on.
Yeah.
So,
And Freya's worn some of Sarah's stuff.
yeah,
and there's
and,
other kids from other regiments that the parents have gone, we're not having any more, here you go.
Yeah.
and then we'll make copies from the things and just try and make it a little bit bigger.
And then
So-
stuff that Freya's wearing will probably be handed down
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, to Cutler's
Yeah.
child.
Oh, very good. So,
I have to get
They get-
the outfit here.
they
yeah,
get a
look at
lot
this.
of-
No, I'll
Look at
step
that.
Look, what are you wearing? You look like you're pretty important here.
No, I am the exact opposite of important.
Oh, well, you're an honest man then.
Indeed.
He's needed. I
He's
guess.
needed.
Yes.
What was your role in the camp?
Music.
Music. Okay. And what would you play?
A fife. Where is
Hey,
that?
do you have a fight?
I do have
Yeah, we'll go get it and we'll play you a couple of tunes there. Yeah. Have a little look around if you want some empty eggshells. But we're inviting everybody in the Annapolis Royal area to come here tomorrow. At 9 o'clock, I think the encampment, the ground's open here. So come all day. There'll be a tactical battle from 2 to 3 right on the grounds here. It'll be the first battle we've had here since 1781. So it's going great. And then, of course, the sunset ceremony, if it's nice tomorrow, the one over here, that's weather dependent, but then you can come all day and speak to the folks, find out what life would be in a military camp, and maybe they'll recruit you to join in one of these days if you're interested. You see, there's always an opportunity for new recruits.
We have a few people watching. We have my mother Barb.
Oh, Barb Andrews. Well,
watching.
thanks for watching over here. Yeah,
Chase Hudson.
Chase Hudson. Oh, he's a chef, isn't he?
Yeah. Over at the new.
Oh, the Founders View restaurant just on the other side of the river there. Very good.
Bev Clays is here watching with us as well. He's from over my side of the river there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And someone, Carol, is watching from Vancouver.
Vancouver, well, it's a bit, you might get a red-eye flight to get over here by tomorrow if you can, Carol, but if not, you can at least see some sights and sounds of it tonight here, because we're trying to, and tomorrow, be sure to tune in at 2 for the battle. We'll be here reporting.
Yeah.
We'll have I don't think we'll have a boom truck for anything to get an aerial shot, but we'll try and get a good place, you see.
Okay, you brought
We
your
have a
instrument.
pretty good spot.
Yes, I did.
Such a nice breeze.
So that's a fife. It's essentially a shorter flute, closer to a recorder almost.
Okay. It has less holes than a recorder?
It does actually. A recorder would have a extra one there. Also, the recorder usually has a second hole here, and with the pinky finger hole, it would have another one there.
That's right. Yes, I remember.
There's also no hole in the back.
You were in the band at school, were you, Tammy?
Well, elementary school, everyone had to play the recorder.
Oh, okay. No, I guess I grew up in the back of the woods. We didn't have any recorders in our school. We were
Can you
deprived.
play just a couple little notes there for us? See how it sounds? high pitched, doesn't it?
Technically, you can go to 3 octaves.
Okay.
Wow,
Very
so
nice.
that's, but you'll be playing this tomorrow during
Yes, I
some of
will
the
be.
marching and drilling and everything. Yeah. So, what's the rule of the fife in when you're marching? Is it to keep a certain beat or to keep? I'm not a musician myself.
The fife and drum was essentially a second way for the soldiers to hear the commands from the officers.
Okay.
We would hear it beforehand, and the rule of thumb was kill the officer, then kill the music.
Okay.
Because if they can't hear the music,
Yeah.
then they don't know what they're doing.
Okay, that's right. So the music. So if you can get the officer, he can't give the commands. If you kill the music,
well,
nobody hear.
Well, more or less, if you kill the music,
Yeah.
then the officer can't really relay the
Commands. to the people.
so you wouldn't really need to kill the officer. But if you happen to hit the officer first,
Yeah. Now, so there were different music played
yes.
meant different things for the regiment.
there were different things. Yes.
Yeah.
The drum has several beats for the loading and firing of the muskets and whatnot. It keeps the step as they're marching around and whatnot. The fife has several different things too. There is 2 arms. There is the drummer's call, all of which basically give, what's the word I'm looking for? Rally, I believe, up the soldiers.
Okay. And that's that bear on the top of your.
Yes, it is.
Does that scare the enemy, or is it just for looks to matches your hair, or what?
I can tell you right now, it does not match my hair.
Okay. So it's not. You're telling me it's not a fashion element. No.
No.
Yeah. What about your neck? You seem to have something around your neck.
That's the neck stock. It's supposed to help with posture mostly.
Okay, keep you nice and straight if you're walking around.
I just have problems with things up against my neck.
Okay,
so
yes,
I don't keep mine tight.
Okay,
I imagine that would be quite.
Oh, it is.
It's
It's not.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to hear some nice fife playing tomorrow, folks, come to Fort Anne. You'll be playing we'll be looking at you now that we know what to listen for. Now, I know as a novice on the fife world, but now we'll know what to listen for. But we won't tell anybody if you make a wrong note. Okay?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. The captain will be on your back. Captain will be on your back if you do, but, you know. We're gonna, as we go on, we might go out and see the captain and the fellow for the musket there from the Nickerson. But I want to just point out that the building just over there behind, and you can walk a bit more, but that's the oldest building that Parks Canada owns, is the Powder Magazine. In the far corner, it dates back to 1708. It was built by the French Marines. And then when the British captured the fort 2 years later, they strengthened it. But if you go in there, that's not reconstruction. That's original. All these hills and mounds are the walls of the fort. It's built of dirt. The French hadn't sent much money here, so they had to use what was available and cheap. Dirt is cheap, and they put grass on the side to prevent erosion and camouflage. So at the time, when this was a fort, there would have been 200 soldiers in here, but the barracks and all the different buildings were here in the center, and then these walls protected the interior. And if somebody could fly overhead, it looked like a star. The star allows you to crossfire on the enemy in every direction, absorb the enemy cannon fire from every direction. So it works well on paper, but you also have to feed, pay, and provision the men. What happened here, 2,000 British against 200 French who hadn't been provisioned for quite a while, so the morale was quite low. And in 10 days, the British captured this, and the name of the town was changed from Port-Royal to Annapolis Royal in honor of Queen Anne, you see. Polis is the Greek for city, so the royal city of Anne. And for the folks in Halifax might be watching or anywhere else, we were the capital of Nova Scotia until Halifax was founded in 1749. So I always call Halifax a new capital. When they've been there for 300 years, we'll see the title of just a capital, you see. But we were the capital before Halifax. And so this was one of the prized possessions here. But I see Francis Nickerson's over here. The building, somebody told me they were from Kentville. See, that building was built by Prince Edward, the Duke of Kent, Queen Victoria's father. That was the officers' barracks that was built in 1797. And it was built a couple of years about 4 years for the town clock in Halifax. Now here we have a gentleman, looks like he's pretty important. He's got some gold braid on the hat and everything, and looks like he's seen a couple of battles. And well, his buddy behind him here as well. You might tell us who you are and what you're doing here in the regiment.
I am Captain Nickerson. I am from Truro, Nova Scotia, and I've been doing this for 30 plus years.
Oh, you're almost due for a pension.
End of September.
In September.
King promised the end of September.
Okay.
Anyway, what's name? I started off as a Highlander until such time as I acquired the cannon, and in which case I had no choice but to switch to artillery. And she is a labor of love. This hobby is a dedication. You have to be dedicated to this hobby in order to really enjoy it. But then when you really enjoy it, it becomes a lot of work, right? However, it's the fun of meeting people, traveling to different communities and events. As to anything else, it's a matter of, it's the hobby.
Some people play golf. You like to come to do encampments. I
Yes.
graveyard myself.
Well, I tell the people and the new recruits or those recruiting that it is a family hobby. The women and the children are, instead of saying, well, where's your husband? Well, I don't know. He's out with the guys running around this weekend somewhere. Well, where's your husband? Oh, he's setting up so that when we get there tomorrow, it'll all be ready. And we travel as family when they're not working. However, the kids and the women, they make the show because they were the wives and the children, not only of the soldiers, but of the loyalists that were being protected by the soldiers after they had been basically put off their land because they were trying to stay loyal to the king.
Here we've got a gentleman that comes from a loyalist town. Liverpool, yes. What do you have to say? You look like you've been around a few years here as well. I recognize you.
I was late to get into the hobby. Owen Hamlin's my name. I come from the Shire town of Liverpool, 1759, and I got into the hobby after I retired from teaching in '94. I started with the King's Orange Rangers. They were there 5.5 years in Liverpool, and so we formed a regiment. I joined the 84th Foot because I wanted to wear a kilt again that I did when I was 14 and 15, 16 years old.
At King's College?
No, actually, no. It was a pipe band, Lions Pipe Band in Kentville.
Oh, nice.
And they have morphed into the Air Force Pipe Band in Greenwood now.
Okay.
So after I was there in 54 through 59, 60, and now after the band folded up and the Greenwood band folded, they put together a volunteer pipe band. But that's why I joined 84. And I got into a little bit of the organization of the group. I sort of represent the senior group in the United States.
Okay.
The Brigade of the American Revolution. And I kind of, with the help of the seniors in both, well actually in all 4 of our groups, 5 groups, we managed to do quite well.
Yeah, no, I've seen you here since the start of this encampment. You've always been a very dignified and good representative of both of you of the regiment, because we're inviting everybody to come here tomorrow. Fort Anne opens at 9 o'clock, so these folks will probably be up by then. But you can come and visit, talk to the gentlemen. They know what life was like in the military camp of the 1780s, and you can talk to the people, men, women, children, find out what they're doing here. There'll be a tactical battle, weather permitting, on the grounds here, so if you want to see a little tactical battle, come here tomorrow afternoon. Be sure to get here early. I think it's at 2, yeah, from what I can see. But be sure to get here early, because if you arrive at 2, you might not get a good spot, because there's some safety zones that the crowds have to stay out. We don't want to end up with an injury here. And then, of course, we're going to cover the big parade as well, aren't we, Tammy?
Yeah.
And then every night there's graveyard tours as well, because we're with the Historical Association of Annapolis Royal and Explorer Guide, so we're inviting everybody to come and have a look. Hi there, you're visiting, are you? Where are you visiting from?
Oh, far, far away.
Oh, yes, across the street?
Distant land.
Okay, where?
Cape Breton.
Oh, yes, that is far. L'Île Royale.
Yeah,
is that?
Lately we've been hanging out a lot in Smith's Cove.
Okay, I'll help with here. You found
Yeah,
now
get
you're
off and let's go.
yeah, that's good. That's good. You're going to come in here tomorrow and have a look at the encampment and everything. or
Definitely,
something, yeah?
definitely. I just love it. If not, I'd be in Shelburne wherever they're hanging out.
Well, they hang out somewhere different
And
every weekend.
Liverpool. Huh?
And Liverpool.
And Liverpool, yeah.
Well, be sure to tell all the folks in Smith's Cove that tomorrow they can come and visit here. There's going to be a tactical battle at 2 o'clock, and they're going to be doing a parade downtown.
I hope they're smart enough to read the newspaper.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, this is online. I got it all off the line.
That is been cleared. That's been cleared out in there.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, they're all set up here. You
I've
see,
been
but look
given
at this.
permission to look inside the tent.
Look in behind the officer's private quarters.
Okay, I'll just, yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to look at the desk here because you got the quill. This must be the type of quill she was talking about for writing and paper. And we've got some candles, of course, candlesticks, and must be a little bit of libations in there, you know, the mug. But see, this little cover, Tammy, this offers a bit of shade because when you're in the sun, it's pretty deadly. But the difference between out there in the sun to here, it's about 5 degrees difference, you
And
see.
whose tent is this again?
This one is the captain of the artillery.
Okay,
Captain
so
Francis
captain's
Nickerson.
tent.
Yeah,
He's
he's
much
like
bigger
than
the
these
other.
little wall tents. Yeah, that are
And they said how many to it?
They said 5 at a time. There would be 6 assigned to it, but then 1 would be on guard and 5 would be sleeping.
There'd be
Okay.
8 into each one of these tents.
Yeah.
That's a squad tent. That's 6 men.
6 men per
6
tent.
men to a
man is
tent.
on duty.
And one of those
5
little ones,
are inside.
and then one man gets this big one. Just take a little look. Peek if you can come tomorrow. Take another little look in. Very nice tent. Very nice.
And
I've been in them in 40 below.
now I'm going to see if Captain Reddin's around here. Robert, did you have your pipes over here at all or not? Yeah, because Captain Reddin's been in charge of this camp for quite a few years, and he's got an officer's tent here, and but he's a gentleman who's done the piping at the Highland Games for years and years.
Okay.
Robert Reddin. Now he's one when they want a good piper, because you got to play the same. You got to play the same for everybody, so you got to be able to keep the same music going for a long time if you're playing the same tune, so everybody gets a fair chance at dancing the proper. I'm not a dancer either for Highland dancing, but you know. Now, hey, Sailor Delory, your pipe over there. Now, how do you like that? Because I don't see a big. You're not carrying a big lighter with you.
Don't carry a bic, and if you've been here 10 minutes ago, or 5 minutes ago, you'd have seen the actual method that we light fires.
Yeah.
in the 18th
You have
century,
a kind of a flint and
flint and steel.
Okay.
En français, c'est pierre à feu.
Pierre et feu. Okay, that's right.
So it's
That's right.
firestone.
Firestone.
Very hard stone.
so that when you hit it with steel, it makes a spark.
Makes
Does
a
it?
spark. The spark catches on a piece of charred linen,
Yeah.
or a piece of old rotten punk wood,
Mm-hmm.
and you just blow on it. It causes an ember.
Oh, and then you put it in the tobacco.
Now, I don't smoke in the 21st century whatsoever.
Okay, but then there's a smell to that tobacco.
But I do this as demonstrations in
Okay.
the 18th century.
Yeah.
And this pipe, I mean, as an anti-smoking campaign, this pipe would have been entirely bone white when it was new.
Okay.
And you can see the tar, the nicotine, the horrible carcinogens that are
So
coming
that
out
kind
of
of
it.
goes into your. Now,
I was drawn by your mug there.
Well, as a sailor, this is I'd have had something called a drinking jack, and this is a basically leather mug, and it's waterproofed with beeswax.
Beeswax, okay.
Could have been waterproof with something called brewer's pitch,
Yeah.
which was what they waterproofed kegs with when they made beer. But I like the beeswax.
I see that was made in 2006, was it?
By a fellow in Yarmouth,
Okay.
Mike Jacquard.
Jacquard, that's a good. Jacquard. Hello, Capitaine. I'm going
here we go.
to ask you a couple of questions here first, because Robert Reddin has been in the reenactment as long as anybody else in Nova Scotia, I would say. My sister talked about Robert Reddin when she was at Teachers College. All the girls liked him, you see. He was, but he was
Yes,
a good.
Pat and I were in a couple of classes together years ago.
Yeah. But anyway, Robert's been a piper. How long have you played at the Highland Games? I think.
I did 44 years for Highland dancing and have been playing since 1963.
Wow, very good, very good. So that, what's your role in this in the regiment here?
I'm one of the 4 founding members, and since I was an officer in the Canadian Army, I'm the commanding officer of the group.
Very good, very good. So you'll have your captain's outfit on tomorrow.
So tomorrow I'll be wearing my gold-braided uniform with the epaulets on it and my kilt rather than a pair of trousers.
Oh yeah, but this is behind the scenes, folks. We're kind of walking through here to show folks a behind the scenes look, and tomorrow they can come and see the regiment in full regalia. But we'd like you to maybe play a little tune so that they can kind of get the feel of the music and the feel, because the Scottish pipe, the bagpipes
really... Play us a tune, sir, that would rouse us from our slumber in the morning.
Up in the morning, up in the morning, up in the morning early.
So a drummer and the piper would be beating through keg
to get people up.
The lines.
What got you interested in playing the pipes?
My father and my uncle both played in the army back before the Second World War.
Okay.
And when the war ended, my uncle kept it up, father gave it up.
Mm-hmm.
And in '63 he took me to the Annapolis Highland Games, and I thought, yeah, that's a rather interesting looking thing, and I might like to learn to play that. Well, he said, I still have the old practice chanter at home that was mine.
Yeah.
So that was July. By Christmas I was playing pipes.
Nice, nice. And how long have you had this side of pipes?
These I haven't had all that long. I bought them in 2011.
Yeah. How long would a set of pipes last roughly for? Depends how much you play them or what?
If they're well maintained, they will last much longer than the individual that owns them.
Okay.
I have seen pipes that were still being played that were in excess of 175 years.
Wow.
So as long as they're looked after, they'll last.
Is your son going to be here tomorrow, maybe, or not sure?
He should be. He and my grandkids helped me load up the vehicle today to bring all the kit down, and his wife has to write an exam today. But once that's done, then they'll be in the vehicle. So he'll be here on the ground sometime tonight.
Yeah, tonight, maybe be rolling in a little bit later on, but that's very good. But no, really, this is I remember when we came here the first year in 1992, when the first summer, it was the 75th anniversary of Parks Canada, I remember, and they asked us to organize things. So the two things that I helped organize was the encampment, I contacted, and then the graveyard tour. So those two things are still happening. So that's kind of nice to see something that started in 1992, still going today, and people come and see this, and it makes it a destination for the Natal Day weekend, I would say, folks. You know.
What I might like most of all is I picked the 84th Highlanders because I needed a new uniform and I wanted something that was specifically Nova Scotian.
Yes.
And it was the first regiment raised outside of Scotland. And so when I started working with Parks Canada, what made it even more happy for me was the 84th was the actual garrison here in the fort during the latter part of the American Revolution.
Yeah.
And we were the ones that were here when the American privateers made the raid on the town.
Oh, yes, and they pillaged the town a bit there, didn't they? Were you guys mostly in the tavern when that happened, or what?
There were 3 of them were actually in the fort.
Okay.
The rest of them were out on what we would call today a recce patrol or a flying patrol.
Okay.
And it happened that the Americans showed up.
Yeah, and the wrong time for us here.
Yeah, and there was only one casualty.
Yeah.
And that was on the American side where they shot their own pilot in the back in the dark by mistake.
Oh my gosh.
They then rounded up the townspeople and held them in the moat just behind us here on the
grounds here.
North side of the grounds. Even stole the buckles off the ladies' shoes. But when they arrived at the Reverend's house that very week, he had received his 25 gallons of sacramental wine.
Ooh.
So the cease and desist of the pillaging commenced the moment they discovered it was time to consume the wine instead. And by the time they were pretty well in the bag, that was when the rest of the 84th Highlanders were returning, and the Americans thought, discretion being the better part of valor, then it's time to hit the boats and get out of here.
Yeah, I remember 1981. I was just a young kid, my third year working for Parks Canada, and it was a reenactment of that 1781 sacking of Annapolis Royal. I remember they did that and rounded people in the ditches and kind of, it was kind of at the time I was young, I didn't appreciate it. Do you remember seeing that at all, Tammy? No, you might have. Yeah, you're younger than the two of us. We're getting a bit old in the tooth, but the alternative to aging isn't very good, is it, Captain?
Not really.
No, you got to keep going. You see.
I dare say, if one were to take that today, knowing what we know about what had taken place, you could produce a fairly interesting comedy out of that.
Yeah. Well, we thank you very much for taking some time and putting a tune here tonight. But again, folks, tomorrow, be sure to come and visit the encampment, regimental encampment here at Fort Anne. There's lots of activities happening, but we're also, Tammy and I, are going to be covering the tactical battle live tomorrow on Facebook Live. And then, of course, Graveyard Tour tonight, 9:30, tomorrow night, 9:30, Sunday night, 9:30, every night, 9:30 till October 15th.
One more song before we head out?
Yeah, we're gonna close up. Could you close us up with a little song to bring the folks here tomorrow? And there we go. That's perfect, Tammy. A good request.
Be an 18th century battle tune.
Okay.
Oh yes, we got the battle coming on tomorrow. So.
And thank you everyone for joining us from the Historical Association and
Explorer Guide. We'll get down by the pipes here, but. Well, Tammy, it's been very fun working with you, and you're an excellent cameraman. I think if Hollywood's waiting, they'll get you there. You're a camera woman, I guess.
I like my small town.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice. This is what brings us the pride of our own town, and that's what it's all about. That rounds up the spirit. Did you have somebody there that was?
Yeah, Tim.
Okay.
Says, great job, Alan.
Okay, Tim Holiday. We played defense together. We played defense together on the University of St. Anne's floor hockey team. He was my partner. It might have been 1981, 82. I can't quite remember. He's in Alberta now, I think.
It says he'll be home on Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah. His wife used to work at the bank here.
Okay.
Yeah, and his daughters. I remember.
There's Louise.
Oh, Louise LeClaire.
Yeah.
Okay, right over here on the Annapolis River on the other side of the causeway there. Yes.
Yeah, Rhonda and Tim.
Tim. So Tim.
Yeah,
very
Tim again.
good.
That same message
very
there.
good.
Okay,
well,
real quick. Yeah. And okay, so we'll sign off. Thank you for tuning in for the Historical Association of Annapolis Royal.
Explorer Guide. This is Al Melanson.
And Tammy Andrews-Tupper.
And we'll see you tomorrow at the battle.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye. There's the man.